In this video, I'm going to show you how to navigate the internal menu system of the Insta360 ONE X and show you all the different options you can set. Turn on the ONE X by holding down the small button until the light shows up. On the LED screen, you can see the Wi-Fi is on, the battery is fully charged, and the Bluetooth is on. When the ONE X is idle for some time, it will automatically go into standby mode to save your battery. If you leave the ONE X in standby mode for too long, then it will turn off automatically. Press the big button or small button once to wake up the ONE X when it is in standby mode. By default, the ONE X opens in photo mode. Our focus is to learn how to make a video, so I will skip photo mode. To enter video mode, press the small button once. The video icon represents video mode for recording video. The ONE X can record 167 minutes of video before the microSD card is full. 5.7K is the video resolution, which is the highest resolution available on the ONE X. 25 is the number of frames per second. To start recording video, press the shutter button once, and now your ONE X is recording video. Press the shutter button again to stop recording. To cycle through the various video modes, hold down the big button until it changes and let go. Now it is in bullet time mode. This is when you swing your ONE X in the air to get a 360 shot of yourself. Hold down the big button again. Now it is in time-lapse mode. In this mode, the ONE X will save a series of photos over time and automatically turn it into a video for you. Hold down the big button again. And now it is in HDR video mode. HDR stands for High Dynamic Range. In this mode, the ONE X will record a brighter video and a darker video and merge it together to create a perfectly exposed video. I recommend that you only use HDR mode when your ONE X is still on a tripod. And this is all the video modes. You can change some of these settings for these video modes in the settings menu. To enter settings, press the small button once. You will see a cogwheel. Press the big button to enter settings. The camera icon represents photo settings, which you can see below. To see video settings, press the big button once on the photo icon with the arrow. And now the icon has changed to video to show you video settings. Below are the settings for standard video mode. You can set the ONE X to record 5.7K 25 frames per second. This is ideal for day-to-day filming at the highest video quality. 5.7K 24 frames per second is for a cinematic look and feel, since 24 frames per second is the Hollywood standard. 30 frames per second is best if you are making a 360 video to be played back in a VR headset. You need the extra frames per second to prevent your audience from feeling discomfort in a headset. 4K 30 frames per second is a smaller version of 5.7K 30 frames per second. 50 frames per second is good for slow motion video. And 3K 100 frames per second is also good for slow motion video. I recommend you to use 5.7K 25 frames per second whilst you are learning. It's important to know that you can only set auto exposure on the ONE X itself. Auto exposure will set the ISO, shutter speed and white balance for you. To manually set the ISO, shutter speed and white balance, you need to connect the ONE X to the ONE X app and adjust it from there. ISO and shutter speed work together to make the perfect exposure for your video. Exposure is how dark or bright your video is. And the perfect exposure is making sure your video isn't too bright or isn't too dark. Low ISO will make your video appear darker and high ISO will make your video appear brighter. Low shutter speed will make your video appear more blurry and high shutter speed will make your video appear more sharp. If you choose an ISO option, then the shutter speed will become automatic, and if you choose a shutter speed option, then the ISO will become automatic. You need to tell the ONE X whether your priority is the ISO or shutter speed, and I recommend that you set the shutter speed as priority and set it to faster, as this will make sure that your video will become less blurry than before. Log mode on is video without brightness, contrast, saturation and sharpness. By default, log mode is off and the ONE X software will add a little bit of brightness, contrast, saturation and sharpness for you. Log mode on will give you better dynamic range, but the colors are more vibrant with log mode off. I recommend you to keep log mode off for faster editing. The next video setting is for bullet time. To get a good bullet time video, you need to swing the camera around you, which involves a lot of motion. To avoid the video becoming too blurry, change the shutter speed to faster. Faster shutter speed will make your video less blurry. The next video setting is for time lapse. The interval is how often you would like the ONE X to take a photo. So you can take a photo every 60 seconds, 120 seconds, or half a second, or 1 second, 2 seconds, and there's even more. ISO shutter speed and log mode is the same as before. The next video setting is HDR video, and currently there are no settings available. That is all the video settings available on the ONE X. Now let's take a look at Wi-Fi settings. The Wi-Fi has to be on for the ONE X to connect to the ONE X app. If you do not use your phone when filming, then set the Wi-Fi to auto. This will turn off the Wi-Fi and save you some extra battery. Make sure to turn it on again when you connect the ONE X to your phone. Here you can see your Wi-Fi password, and it's the same thing for Wi-Fi channel. Next are some more settings. About shows you your serial number. Quick Capture can start a video recording straight away by holding down the shutter button when the ONE X is off. Let me show you a demo. So I'll turn Quick Capture on and switch off the ONE X. If you hold the shutter button down when the Quick Capture is off, then nothing will happen. Now when Quick Capture is on and I hold down the shutter button whilst the ONE X is off, the ONE X will start recording video automatically. I recommend leaving it off because the ONE X can start accidentally recording in your bag, and before you know it, you have no battery left. LED is this light which you can turn off over here. Beep is the sound to let you know when you start and stop a recording or take a picture. If you are in a quiet place or trying to be discreet, then you can turn sound off. USB mode will allow you to connect the ONE X to the computer with a charging cable. Just change it to iOS mode. Flicker fix is for the type of power used in your country. If you notice the light is flickering in your video, then you need to change this. Typically for Europe it is 50, and for America and Asia it is 60. Format will erase all the contents from your microSD card. Only do this after you have backed up all your videos and photos from the ONE X. Restore will reset your ONE X to factory settings. If something goes wrong with your ONE X, then resetting the camera may help. Gyro calibration will tell your ONE X which way is straight. The gyro should be calibrated correctly straight out of the box, but if the horizon is off in all of your videos, then you may need a gyro calibration. That's it, you now know how to navigate the internal menu system of the ONE X, and in the next video I'm going to show you how to film and edit your first overcapture video using the ONE X app.